Hey everybody, this is Michael, back again with another video. I hope you guys enjoy this one. So, if you saw some of the other videos, I've been reading a couple books, and one of them was the book by Dr. Jordan Peterson. The first one was one of his major ones was the 12 Rules for Life book, and it came across a quote, and I really liked it. And what it is he says, this is from Rule 9 of his 12 Rules of Life, and it is, if you're not the leading man in your own drama, you're a bit player in someone else's, and you might be well assigned to play a dismal, lonely, and tragic part. I mean, let's kind of let that sit for a second, and that actually reminded me of another quote by William Shakespeare, actually, and it's one of his more famous quotes, and it's from the As You Like It play that he wrote, and that quote is, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts." And I feel like they're both, both are very intelligent men, obviously, and I believe that they're saying, relatively the same thing. And I can look back upon my life, and I may be like, "Oh, I'm a good guy now," well, but I know there's a couple girls that I dated back then who may say differently, just because I was young, stupid, arrogant, whatever. Um, and I guess that's what it is that so my first point, I guess, with this is that when we're growing up, we're changing, we're constantly learning, we're learning new things, we're discovering ourselves, discovering the world, so, we may have the best intentions and, might, meet somebody, and then they may consider us to be the bad guy of their life. We may, end up dating them, and then it just doesn't click or whatever, and they end up resenting you, and so you may be cast as a bad guy in their life, a bad boyfriend or whatever. May not be a bad guy. I don't want to say it like that, but that loser boyfriend, whatever. That's just an example, because you can be a good person, but then sometimes in the situations of life, you may not be the best person someone else is in perspective. That's one thing that we kind of have to understand and accept, and that's also that I believe really drives home why we should be conscientious of ourselves and our actions, and maybe the world around us. Also, another point is that the other point I believe that they're trying to say is that if you don't have a direct goal that you're working for, like if you're like, "Oh, I'm going to be an astronaut," okay, what are you doing to get there? Are you taking, science classes? Are you taking pilot classes to fly the thing, like to fly the shuttle? And if you don't have a direct goal that you are mindfully working towards, you then become a victim of circumstance or situation, So if you're like, "Oh, well, I want to be an astronaut," but you don't do anything to work towards that goal, you then become a victim of whatever the world throws at you. Because, you just go to your job 9 to 5, that's it. If you get laid off, you're now not someone who's working towards, to be an astronaut. You're now just unemployed. That's why a lot of people who are going to school, but then they have a job on the side, they would identify as a student. "Oh, I'm a student, I'm going to school," because that's their main focus, that's their primary goal. And so the jobs, which are very necessary to live, isn't the main focus. And so that way, if they're working as a cashier at 7-Eleven, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm a cashier." They could say that. They're like, "Oh, well, actually, I'm going to school, but I work part-time at a gas station or something." Like that. That is what I believe is kind of what they're also, another point that they're making with this. And, it's very important to have a goal. That's very, that's a big platitude. I'll right there. But it's also, if you don't have a goal, you don't have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, you're lost, and you truly, life doesn't have meaning. You don't have meaning. You don't have any value. You have no self-worth, and that's why even if you have a small goal, latch on to that and work towards it, because who knows what that would happen. What that will evolve into. And give you a little example. I happen to be a comic book lover, and so I was like, "Oh, maybe I want to write a comic book," and then it kind of, I only wanted to write one, and then so I did, And I'm still looking for artists for that. Um, that seems to be a pain on its own. But it started with just one, and then it evolved into, oh well, it'd be a really cool character if I had this other, and then another one and another one, and the next thing I know, I have this whole universe of characters. I think my last count on supers alone, just people with superpowers, is like got into the 50s. Like 50, 60 characters I have ready to go, and and that all started with that small goal. Oh, I just want to write one single secular comic book story. I want to give my, and it kind of evolved, and that's the importance of goals, because you don't know where that goal will take you, and that's because if you strive to be, an athlete, and so you go start training, and maybe you get injured and you don't become that pro athlete that you wanted, but along that way you discovered more about just how strong you are, how resilient you are. Maybe you were able to network and find other people. That is really important, because you have to have goals, because you're the lead player, you're the lead actor in your own life. It's your play, man, and man, woman, child, whatever, whoever's watching this, you're the star, and you need to go out and get your fame, and this is your story, this is your thing. Go out and be successful. So if you want to write a comic book, go ahead, do that. If you want to be an astronaut, go ahead, do that. Start working towards it. You got to come up with a goal. Once you have that goal, then the most important thing after that is coming up with a plan to achieve that goal. Because once you have the plan, that is when your life has purpose, it has meaning. And sometimes that's all you got. Because, I'm currently unemployed. Got laid off again. And the only thing, when you don't have a schedule to adhere to, your life becomes whatever, circumstantial. Like, and so that's why I started mimicking my wife's work schedule. So when she goes to work at 7, I get up and I start doing stuff. I do my project management certification, I do my writing, and I have my, and because the goal is still get a job and then also finish, my comic book series, and my game, and just kind of goes with it. But and that is the only thing, because I've experienced unemployment before, being laid off, and it sucks. It really does. And because there's nothing that says you're not valuable when you get laid off, because it's literally the company saying, well, you're not worth paying. And so it really, really does suck, and it really, really hurts. And especially when you have no goals outside of work and you lose that job, you then become worthless, essentially. And you can definitely feel it too, because you don't have anything. But if you have a goal, and a ultimate goal that is above than just getting a paycheck and paying rent, it helps provide structure to your life. So me being unemployed really sucks, but because I've been so focused on trying to finish my little comic book series, and then also I got other little projects going on, it helped structure my life so that way it wasn't just my entire life ended because, or was upheavaled because of job loss. It was, oh man, that sucks, but now I have a little more time to work on my, my other projects, but I have to keep in mind I'm looking for a job. And so that is what helped me not fall in too far into depression, because it did hit me. Anyone who gets laid off, rightfully, I believe that you can feel depressed, and that's okay, because it sucks. It's a terrible experience, so I did experience that. But what got me out of that was my focusing on my goal. There are times where you don't want to do it. There are times where, you just don't feel like it's in you. But remember, if you have that goal, that drive, you can just, professionals show up and do the work. Amateurs show up and do the work when they feel like it. So drive yourself, have that goal, have that plan to achieve that goal, because again, you're the star of your own play, and so, when on your last day of Earth, will you look back at it and you're like, wow, this story is worthy of being retold to other people? Or is it going to be a story of like, oh, well, I just worked and I did what whatever came to my way, and I just reacted to the situations, and I was a victim of circumstance, and and that's how you become resentful and bitter about the life that you lead, is when you look back and you realize that you at no point in time really took control of your own life. And I'm in my mid-30s now. Birthday's next month. And I feel that way about parts of my life. Like I like my, well, I won't say my teens, because that was kind of a side story. But like in my mid-20s, I feel that way. I didn't do enough. I didn't advance enough. And so now here I am, trying to be the lead actor in my own play, because I am. Just like you are. You are your own actor, and so like if you want to just pay rent and that's it, all right, cool, whatever. But if you want to feel like you have more self-worth, if you want to feel like you have purpose beyond just, your worker drone, purpose in life, it just find a goal, find something you want to do, and just pursue it. Go for it. If have you ever wanted to paint, try painting. You don't know, but yeah. So I thought these quotes were pretty nice, and I gave them 2. So it was a nice little 2 for 1. So again, Dr. J. Peterson from Rule 9: if you are not the leading man in your own drama, you are a bit player in someone else's, and you might as well be assigned to play a dismal, lonely, and tragic part. And the other one was from William Shakespeare. As you like it, play. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. So, I hope this helps you guys. I hope, everything's going well for you, and I really do hope that this kind of helps you kind of take charge in your own play, if not, because you are the leading actor in your own play. So, why not, be successful? Why not be happy with what you're doing, or at least where you're going? So, but anyway, thank you so much, guys. Hope everything goes well for you guys, and take it easy.